A very good morning to all of you, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this very fabulous summit, which is hashtag unlocking the power of being, all the way brought to you by MHFI, AIIMS, and RAHAT. And RAHAT is bringing you another RAHAT. When it comes to online, we have Mind Specialist, where you can go and actually check out what needs to be done for healing. So there are many tools since the past 2 days that we have been offering each and every one of our listeners, and I'm very glad that we have in thousands that are coming and being a part of this. So a big thank you to all those who are joining us. A big thank you to all our session speakers who have been joining us and enlightening us, and also to the ones who have been taking the sessions forward as my co-compares. With that being said, once again, a big thank you to all our sponsors. First and foremost, the platinum sponsors were Karangi Gale India Limited, Indraprasth Gas Limited, Intas Pharmaceuticals. Gold sponsors Sham Steel, Sun Pharmaceuticals Industries Limited. And then we have silver sponsors, Cipla Limited, Lupin Limited, Torrent Pharmaceuticals, and of course, our lovely technical partners who make this thing go seamless, AIIMS events. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, if you are socially active, all you need to do is just go on hashtag unlocking the power of being and join us on our social media. Be a part of our community also at MHFI, AIIMS, and of course, Mind Specialists, which is an initiative of RAHAT. Now, अब राहत के लिए दो ऐसे हमारे पास दिग्गज आ गए हैं. We have two super knowledgeable luminaries who are going to come and shed a light on the art of communication. And when I say art of communication, हमारे पास सबके पास एक दिल है, and दिल is called heart. So you see, the real art is in your heart. That has to be consciously used. And these two gentlemen are a master in that, and they'll be having a very thought-provoking conversation. First and foremost, we have Professor Brij Bakshi ji, former additional DG Doordarshan with more than 35 years of wide experience in the fields of media management and production. He's covered almost all high-profile live events of national and international importance, including the 3 Olympics and 2 Cricket World Cups for international telecast. He's a visiting professor at Cluster Innovation Center, Delhi University for 3 years, and visiting faculty at National Police Academy, Hyderabad. He is also at the peak of his career as he's opted for VRS from government service and believes that he continues to be a student of communication, thereby mastering the art of communication. And just by looking at his smiling face, you definitely know he is very artful in that. And of course, I have with me none other than the one and only, the heartbeat of MHFI, our very own dear Professor Nand Kumar, sir. President, Mental Health Foundation, India, Professor, Department of Psychiatry, AIIMS, New Delhi, India. Professor Nand Kumar has more than 80 publications to his name and is an ingenious researcher. His love for innovating has been instrumental in bringing about a difference in mental health and practice. Also has mentored development of first indigenous web portal, that is My Hope, exclusively for mental health in India. He has started the first e-Hindi magazine called Mansik Swasthya Patrika for the promotion of mental health and to address the health issues of the community in the Hindi speaking area. Because Hindi हमारी मातृभाषा है, and definitely this needs to be stressed on. So big thank you to Professor Nand Kumar ji for taking up this initiative. Thank you, sir. With that being said, I have two smiling faces and I can see the light bulbs of creativity on your head. So let the art of communication begin.
Thank you, Anirudh, for such a lively, energetic introduction. And prayers and good morning to all of you. First of all, a very big thanks to each one of you for being with us on a Sunday morning. Being with us on a Sunday morning shows your commitment for art of communication. Friends, in coming days, each one of you who is digitally connected with us will not only be known by your medical profession designation like doctors, psychologists, the clinical psychologists, like you have what you call them therapists and counselors, the world will also connect with you and regard and respect you as ambassadors of healing and cure. But that will depend on how you communicate and connect. So today you'll be very happy to know that we are not here going to teach you anything. It's not going to be a session of teaching, or we are not going to deliver any formal lecture. It's going to be a session of sharing and learning. I only have one request, and that's the humble request to each one of you who is digitally connected right now. May I request you to give us next 45 minutes of your time with undivided attention. One is that you're digitally connected with us, but I don't know whether you're sure that you're only physically here, or your mind, your emotion, your heart is also here. The biggest challenge in communication is that we are never in the now. The past or the future, maybe what you have to do at 11 o'clock today, or what is going on in your mind. You said, oh, I wanted to be registered, so I have registered. But have you registered yourself fully? Please, friends, my humble request to each one of you, give us 45 minutes of time, not to us, but to yourself. Say, this 45 minutes, I will wash out whatever is in my life. See, it's like this, our glass is already full. We know that we know art of communication. So once the glass is full, whatever I pour in this, where will this go, person? It'll just go out here. So let's start with 45 minutes of undivided attention. And I'll start with one question which we have for our wonderful anchor, Anirudh. In fact, when he was giving the opening introduction and he was talking about the amazing laurels of Professor and a little bit about me, IPL is going on, and I was thinking that when eminent batsmen like Virat Kohli, Shikhar Dhawan, or Rohit, anyone takes the guard, what's written on the scoreboard? It's never written that Virat has already done 30 centuries. It's written Virat Kohli 0-0-0.
True.
Each inning we start with a 0. The challenge is communication is we think that we know everything, we know how to communicate. The beauty of life is, Anirudh, no one is interested in mine or Professor Saub's earlier work. They will be happy how we connect together. And I have a question through you. What do you think, Anirudh? Why do we communicate? What's the reason to communicate?
We first and foremost, sir, communicate because we need a connection. We need a sponsor, and the sponsor for this particular session is Intas Pharmaceuticals Limited, and silver sponsor is Cipla Limited. I needed to communicate that first. To big thank you to our platinum sponsor Intas and silver sponsor Cipla. So, sir, I've been anchoring since the past 20 years, and every time when I do a show, it's always from the scratch itself, like you're giving birth to a new show itself. So when I say the real art lies in your heart, the communication has to come from the heart, and as an anchor, as an MC, especially who's done television, I've realized that words play a very important role. So they need to be consciously and artfully delivered to the other person. You say, do unto yourself, do unto others as you do unto thyself, right? So जो कम्युनिकेशन आपको पसंद होगा, आप वो भी दूसरे के सामने वैसे ही प्रस्तुत करेंगे, so that you become one in the communication. So the word communicate becomes commune, I, Kate, which is create. So commune, I create with you as a family. That becomes as the power of being, the power of one. Then communication also becomes commune, where it becomes compassion. Okay. So you have to be compassionate towards the person, and if you're compassionate towards the other person, that means you are self-compassionate. That brings on to resiliency. You see, I'm very artfully trying to bring the summarized versions of the past 2 days, where we have doctors who actually stressed on how resiliency and the art of well-being, art of healing happens. Most of the preachers I've seen, be it in various religions, they're preaching to others, but they're teaching themselves. You see, so communication is all about, I would say it's a conscious verbal meditation with two or maybe more people?
Thank you so much. You used a beautiful word at the beginning, and that has made you an eminent television host. I'll say more than the MCU. You said communication is to connect. But friends, sometimes you'll realize mostly we are doing communication to control.
Yes, sir.
Or communication just to say, listen to me what I have to say, without realizing whether the other person is able to receive. We'll start our day with asking Professor Nand Kumar ji, first off, in your profession, it's a tough profession, according to me, the toughest on the earth. What is the biggest challenge and what are the challenges in communication? That's as a medical profession.
Bakshi sahab, you have so well expressed. आपने कहा कि score start from 0, 0, 0, 0. The major challenge in our profession is that each and every patient has 0 score. Suppose if you are seeing as a professional 10 patients or 20 patients. So for these 10 patients, we have to start from 0 again. And that depends upon us how far we can go in terms of making 100. Maybe 0 to 100 or maybe 50, maybe 1 way out. Yes. So it is so important. Another aspect is, if you look at the medical profession, we have to communicate in a different aspect. Say, for example, when a baby gets birth, जब बच्चा पैदा होता है, तो उसका भी communication होता है. जब लोगों का death होता है medical care में, तो उसका भी एक communication होता है. But there is a huge difference in these two communication. Huge difference. Another very important example is that we keep on learning the communication. There is no class for communication. In the entire medical school, there is no class for communication. So when you go to the first year, you are different. When you pass on and then you pass your final and this examination, your communication improves. You can say version 0.1, 0.2, 2.0, whatever version it could be. Sure. So it keeps on changing. And if you look at the medical doctors, the doctor read same book of medicine, same book of surgery. They read same book of gynae and psychiatry. The same teacher teaches them. Yes. वही teacher पढ़ाता है. वही patient भी होते हैं, वही hospital होता है. But they are different in their profession. जो उनका professional outcome है, entirely different. Some doctors communicate so well, and some doctor is not able to communicate. And entire healing, this program is about healing of self and others. Entire healing depends upon the communication. Whether you want to heal yourself, heal others. So it's so important. So in medical science, the communication is so important that even if you have less knowledge, but more communication skill, perhaps you can heal better or you can be better healer. This is what I understand.
No, this is very beautiful because what he said that even if your understanding is limited, but you know how to communicate. So we'll lead from here first. Friends with little experience, and as I said, I am a student of communication. I realized that one of the key things in communication is it is not what you say. It's important how you say, and you're seeing this slide, which will be the next slide coming on this. This you have to keep it in mind, and this is the core to our life is that it's never important what you say. कहने का आपका अंदाज क्या है? आपने कहा क्या है ये उतना important नहीं है. आप कोई आए हैं उसको कहे आप एकदम ये कह सकते हैं जैसे डॉक्टर साहब ने कहा from birth to death. Now we can simply someone आप simply आके ये भी you can convey sorry your patient died is dead. We couldn't save him. But इसको कहने का तरीका अलग भी हो सकता है. Which can be very soothing, which can really give them a compassion. So please remember, please contemplate on this, that it's not important what you say, it's important how you say, and we'll give you some example. Let us say that which we always say because we fight between right and wrong. You say you're lying, or jhoot bol rahe. Now, I can have another andas to say, and that is, we'll see in the next one. Now, you can say, you are not telling the truth. Baat to same kahi. We have said the same thing. You are lying, and you are not telling the truth. Lekin, don't you think the percept is a little change in the truth?
Definitely, yes.
Then I can say it in a third way, which can be, I don't think you are telling the truth.
It has another meaning.
It completely changed it's the same thing you're saying. But see, from your line, you're not telling the truth. I don't think you're telling the truth. And we move to another one. I don't think that's the truth. And then there can be another way that please check if what you're saying is factually correct. I can say, Anuruddh or anyone, please kindly check what you're telling about me is factually correct, or I can simply say you're lying. Now, this whole journey will show you that, friends, it's not important in life what you say. It's very important how you say. आप बिल्कुल एक तरह से बम्बार्डमेंट भी कर सकते हैं, आप उसी बात को बहुत आसानी से, बहुत मोहब्बत से भी कह सकते हैं. We'll see another example. Because as I said, life is between wrong and right, right and wrong. We can simply say you're wrong. Because you are wrong. So why should I use anything else? Sometimes our own arrogance, our own ego. The biggest challenge in communication is not the other person. It is my own ego. We'll come to press up that even the role of ego in the mental health, maybe, in the healing also, we'll little later come with you on this. And secondly, simply say, you're not right. First of all, how do you see the difference between the two?
I think there is a huge difference, and that affects the person vastly. बहुत बड़ा impact होता है इसका लोगों पे. जैसा बोलते हैं, you are wrong and you are not right.
No, there's a third. I can say, I don't think you're right. This is a little satire to you. उसको थोड़ा आपको तकलीफ देने की. Or I can say, I don't think that's right. So then the blame is moved not on
your tone, your non-verbal expression, everything has a big role here.
So, friends, this is one very important. And second, we always confuse, which we'll see in the next slide, that we always confuse information with communication. This is my own little understanding of last 40 years of journey into this. Even today I confuse. Sometimes I am giving information and I think I'm communicating. Information is basically giving out, but communication is getting through. Information is I'm only trying to tell the Sachin Tendulkar has made this number of runs. It's just over. Or if you see in advertising also, earlier they used to say, buy this. Today they don't say this share. They say, अगर आप ये खरीदेंगे तो शायद इससे आपको ये चीज अच्छी. They are not so from giving information to sharing information, and also don't confuse ever. We confuse information with communication. Person like to add to this, please.
If you permit, I will just give one example
Please.
of this. Like information and communication, information is getting out. I can tell you very small anecdote.
Yes, please. See, I am glad Christopher is doing, and we'll remove the slide, and if we require, we'll bring back, because life is story.
1 minute.
Yes, please take.
Based on this, what you have showed in fact, I can recollect one of the young girl way back. She had a top, I think, in middle school. Very good marks she had got in +2. And then she developed symptoms suggestive of what we technically call schizophrenia. Father was a government officer. मैं देखता था. Then I was a junior person in the institute. I was a student perhaps, senior student or so. तो मैं देखता था and ठीक हुई. She became better. The symptoms नहीं रहे. Father was happy. The daughter is becoming better. उसके बाद हमारी पोस्टिंग चेंज होती है. इसे रोटेशन सॉर्ट ऑफ पोस्टिंग होता है हमारा. तो रोटेशन में मैं चले गया 3 महीने के लिए किसी दूसरे डिपार्टमेंट में. उसके बाद एक हमारा प्रोसेस होता है डिटेल असेसमेंट, जिसमें कि डॉक्टर देख के बताते हैं आउटकम क्या होगा और आपको क्या करना है क्या नहीं करना है. असेसमेंट हुआ. उसके बाद रात में करीब 7 बजे के आसपास शाम का टाइम था, मेरे पास फोन आया. ब्यूटीफुल पिताजी का. उन्होंने कहा कि मैं आपसे मिलना चाहता हूँ 1 मिनट के लिए। मैंने कहा अभी तो शाम का 7 बज रहा है, बारिश हो रही है, बस 1 मिनट में बहुत परेशान हूँ। मैंने कहा ठीक आ जाइए। तो जब बारिश में वो आए तो उन्होंने कहा कि मैं बिल्कुल बर्बाद हो गया, मुझे ये कहा गया कि आपकी बेटी ठीक नहीं हो सकती है और ये कुछ छोटे मोटे काम पे लगा दो, ये इससे अधिक कुछ हो नहीं सकता है। मैंने कहा किसने देखा था? तो 1 घंटा तक डॉक्टर ने देखा, 2-3 डॉक्टर से डिस्कस किया और फिर ये बात बताई। फिर मैंने कहा कि ऐसा नहीं है, अगर मान लीजिए दवाई से ठीक है, कुछ लोग बिल्कुल ठीक नहीं होते हैं। इलनेस के बहुत सारे रूप है, आउटकम है, कुछ लोग ठीक हो जाते हैं और आप इसको जो करना है करने दीजिए। व्हाटएवर शी वांट्स टू डू शी कैन डू दैट। शी वांट्स टू परस्यू जर्नलिज्म, let her do that. But the most important part is medicine should be continued and she should keep coming for the follow-up. वो एक अलग सी बात है। आज के दिन में she is in the government job, journalist, she is doing well and she is not married but she is still taking care of herself. She has a job. So the important part of communication is textbook में ये लिखा होता है कि schizophrenia is not a treatable condition, outcome is not that good and they should not be encouraged to go for a higher education. But if I look at the clinical experiences, really a good number of patients may not do well, but that depends upon their condition that was there before the illness developed. So it is very important how you communicate. यदि इस communication से एक information था जो किसको दिया गया, ये हमने किताब में पढ़ा है और ये नहीं हो सकता। दूसरा है कि हमने किताब में और भी कुछ पढ़ा है कि ये पॉजिटिव आउटकम भी होता है, something like that. So it matters a lot whatever you have.
That's a beautiful, friends, like Dr. Saab has shared a beautiful story that it is not important what you say, it's how you say. What they told, it completely destroyed the family. It's their confidence is completely gone. Had some ambassador of health and healing like him. That's why I said in the morning today that in coming days you'll not be known as only a doctor or as a therapist or counselor. In coming days, the world will connect with you as ambassadors of healing and health. But that will depend how you communicate. Just one connect of his reassurance to him. Today, that wonderful girl is a journalist.
There is an important aspect. It's not just reassurance. You have to understand what you are doing, in fact, what you are reassuring. I had an idea that she will do good because she scored good marks in the 10+2.
Okay.
So on that basis, I could gather that she could do well, but she has to be on medication and she has to take care of herself and she has to be on regular follow-up. So it was scientific basis was there to communicate that.
I have a request to our MC in between. Maybe he can have some text messages from our digitally connected friends. And then through him, I'll come to know. Though this question initially will look to you very, why you are asking this question, we know. The question is why people go to a doctor. Why we visit a doctor. Please give us your one-word answers. And Anirudh, slowly, little late, I'll come to you. I have another question for Professor. I query, Professor, do you think that being calm, being relaxed, is key to effective communication? Because what sometimes when we are not calm, we start giving information in place of. What is the role of being calm and relaxed in any communication?
In any communication, being calm, that reflects that at least you are able to communicate with yourself. Unless you are calm, you communicate with yourself, you cannot communicate with others.
Can we remove the slide? We don't require now.
Especially in medical profession. अगर हम अपने डॉक्टरी के पेशे को देखें, तो जब तक आप खुद से कम्युनिकेट नहीं करते, जब तक आप खुद में नहीं होते हैं कॉन्फिडेंट, तब दूसरे से कम्युनिकेट नहीं कर सकते। एग्जाम्पल के तौर पे
कोई कहानी हो तो ज्यादा अच्छी है। Small stories. Life is a story. Okay. First you can give an example.
Okay. See, as we mentioned in the beginning, जो आपने कहा 0 का स्कोर 100 का स्कोर, तो जब खुद को आप जब नीचे देखिए, मान लीजिए एक मरीज देखिए, आपने पेशेंट देखिए, किसी को देखिए, उसके बाद आपका पेशेंट जो कि आप देख रहे हैं, the outcome is very good, the patient is very happy, you also become happy. So that means you have communicated to yourself, okay, you have done a good job. It is subconsciously, आप हो सकता है verbally नहीं बोल रहे हैं, but you feel that. So it's an immediate communication that you have with yourself with a good outcome. Subsequently, कोई ऐसा patient, अगर आप 10 patient देख रहे हैं, ऐसा patient हो सकता है कि जो कि chronic illness है, respond ठीक नहीं कर रहा है. You communicate with yourself, respond. ये ठीक नहीं होगा. Okay, this is the course of the illness. Then you communicate with yourself. What else you can do? It's communicating with yourself. And there is some sort of the technical word called if you communicate with yourself, you can communicate with the patient's sensory system also. That is called we can name it like a sensory integration. So you integrate your sensory system with the patient's sensory system. Because the patient comes to you or any person comes to you, what you do? You perceive with your sensory system. And when you are at the same score, like I am having used something, I'm responding, then you have to go to that level. Okay. If you are mechanical, perhaps not able to communicate with yourself, then perhaps you can't communicate with the patient or with anyone in fact. So the communication to self and the calmness has a huge value. I will tell you one small example.
Sure.
One of the very successful person. See, all successful person has some odds. Like any first generation big quote unquote big what we call financially or achievement wise. They have some odd things in them. Like they have some traits in them. So there is something called hyperthermic trait. They are very active people since beginning. But all the people who are very active, they are perhaps little bit vulnerable also to have some problem, either insomnia or maybe depression, maybe anxiety, anything. So once a person came to me, very successful. He started his business from 100 rupees and reached up to 3,500 crore of turnover per year. It's an achievement. Then something happened in his life and then he lost interest. He developed a guilt feeling that I'm not able to do this. And with this guilt feeling, he started crying in front of someone. Then the person in front of him, he cried. He said, "You should go to a doctor. Don't take it lightly. Go to a doctor means go to a psychiatrist." He accepted that, remarkably. And he had gone to a psychiatrist in his hometown. When he visited a psychiatrist, he stayed there for 10 minutes. The question put to this person was, I'm ready to use the word patient. हाँ बताओ क्या होता है, क्या दिक्कत होती है? He was not able to comprehend कि मैं क्या बताऊं. अगर आप किसी को पूछते हैं क्या दिक्कत होता है, it's a so big question. So unless you come
so
to that
straight also, so straight also.
We can ask that, but the way you have so beautifully expressed. How can I help you? क्या दिक्कत होती है? क्या दिक्कत होता है? It makes a huge difference.
आप उसको with आप कैसा महसूस करते हैं? उसको किस तरह से?
So he stayed there.
How you say?
Why? And the doctor with whom he visited, he was engaged on some phone call also. हाँ बताओ अच्छा ठीक है मैं देख रहा हूँ. Little occupied or busy.
Not undivided.
Not calm and cool.
Not undivided.
Not undivided attention. Then he visited another doctor also. I think same thing happened. I have 10 minutes. Now you can tell. So once you put a limitation that you have 10 minutes, that means you are not calm and cool. It is practically what we have seen. यदि आप किसी को बोलते हैं, I have a time about that. It hardly takes 3 to 4 minutes because the patient or the client are in always hurry. एक mindset होता है कि डॉक्टर के पास जाके जल्दी बताना उसको टाइम नहीं है, वो खुद ही जल्दी बता देते हैं. So the calmness is so important. So when this man, I was talking about, when he came, his version was, when I had gone to this two doctor, I felt that they need help themselves first. So this is the importance of being cool and calm once you are in the medical profession.
Great. Thank you for sharing this. Anirudh, are you ready? We wanted to know why we go to a doctor, please. Are you available?
Yes, sir, very much available. Could you please repeat? It was slightly unclear to me.
Why we go to a doctor?
Why we go to a doctor?
Why a person goes to a doctor?
A person goes to a doctor, because how should I? It's a subconsciously psychological unconditional faith. That is why we choose our physicians. Like if you have a family doctor, you you might not refer a friend for a job to your boss, but very quickly, if you have ultimate trust and faith, unconditional faith in your doctor, you can also refer him to your friend.
I'm still redefining that. What is the reason of our going to doctor? That all is second. Why we go to doctor?
Because we want to be healthy, and we know there's at least one person in this world who will be very open and who will not judge you based on whatever you are suffering or whatever the cause of sufferance is, be it internal, be it a disease, be it a skin problem, or be it mental also. So the doctor is actually open. He says, okay, you come with your trouble to me. I am like your वो कहते हैं ना, एक अनार 100 बीमार, तो 100 के भी 1000 countless बीमारियों के लिए they are a blessing. That is why everybody एक सेल्फ मेडिकेशन की भी बहुत प्रॉब्लम है हमारे बीच में कि हम लोग ना पता नहीं क्यों एंड में जाते हैं डॉक्टर के पास, जबकि हमें पता है कि डॉक्टर स्पेशलिस्ट है और हमारे अच्छे के लिए और हम सालों से जानते हैं.
So basically your answer is that we go to a doctor to be healthy, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But now I will come to you and I have a personal sharing on this. I'm going to ask this. Do we go to a doctor to be healthy, or we go to a doctor because we are suffering and we first share our suffering? What is your view, first?
I think we go to a doctor to share our suffering. Reason being, I will just give you an example. If you have a mild fever, आपको हल्का सा बुखार है, मान लीजिए हल्का सर दर्द है, आपको तकलीफ है, आप थोड़ा बीमार है, but what you do? You just take a paracetamol, take some painkiller, relax. If you have mild cough and cold, you take some cough and cold medicine. Most of us don't go to the doctor. What we do, we just pick up a phone. If you have some friend, doctor friend, you can maximum talk to them. But actually, you go to the clinic of a doctor or go to meet a doctor when you are actually suffering, when the fever is not responding, when the cough is not responding, and it is affecting your life, absolutely affecting your sleep, appetite, you are making you distressed, you are suffering. So to get rid of the suffering, you go to the doctor.
Absolutely, absolutely, very well said. So here I have another question, which friends, one of the core to art of communication is communication is not about you. We sometimes think communication is about me. Is the communication is about me? The communication you are doing for the other person. Sometimes, like we have eminent MC, he thinks that I have best of the words, best of the mannerisms. He's not communicating for himself. He's communicating to introduce two persons. Sometimes we make the difference. And the challenge with medical profession are anyway, we listen to reply, not listen to understand. We have already fixed our cliches or mannerisms over the years that we will listen, okay, this, as Dr. Sab shared a story sometime back, okay, I have just 10 minutes. But do you think we have this challenge that we listen to reply?
I think to respond to your first part of the question, communication for self and others. Yeah. Communication is for both. For others, no, it's important when you are interacting with the others. But when you are sitting alone, or even if you're not sitting alone but going somewhere, you are communicating with yourself more than communicating with others.
Exactly.
Say, for example, you are tired, you have come from somewhere and you want to relax. So, what you do, in fact, you try to pick up either some movie or either some WhatsApp or any digital device. So, you are not communicating with yourself, you are communicating with others, but others is also unknown.
Exactly.
So, for example, you are surfing the net. You think that you are communicating and you are relaxing, but you are not relaxing.
You are actually diverting.
You are diverting, yes. You are diverting. So, it's important that one should communicate with our own self also, then, of course, to others.
Professor Nankumarji has said something very important. I think the key to effective communication is how you're communicating with the self. If your communication with yourself is full of noise, clutter, there is no clarity, all the times mind is creating different kind of confusions. Professor, what is your advice that how do you, the role of the mind, and what is key to effective communication with the self?
It's both easy and tough. To be effectively communicating with the self, first we have to get disengaged, disconnect. Okay? Disconnect with perhaps the outer world. Perhaps you have to disconnect a little bit sensory connections also. And then perhaps you can connect with yourself.
Just a lot more elaborate on that.
I'll just elaborate that. Like if you look at the stress management program, it's a huge business nowadays. A lot of mindfulness techniques, a lot of mindfulness workshops, a lot of stress management techniques, and a lot of apps also has come up. A lot of e-portal, digital, and all that. But even if you are trying to listen to music, just for relaxation, and if you're not getting enjoy, आपको मजा नहीं आ रहा है तो आप कनेक्ट नहीं कर पाते अपने आप से. What I personally feel, the best way to communicate with yourself is if there is no thought that is affecting you and that is coming to the mind. It's very easy. Some people say it's very tough. That thought always keeps coming to the mind. Okay. The very simple technique to connect to our own self without thought. It's called thoughtless communication with yourself. The thoughtless communication with yourself is no thought, no action. It's a breathing. Breathing. Because breathing is such a thing that you can't survive without breathing. But you are not aware of the breathing. If you are able to focus on your breath,
could you just towards the looking at them and share that how the breathing is the...
See, most important part of self-communication is you have to cut off the thought process, but you can't do it actively. Actively आप कर नहीं सकते हैं इसको. अगर आप communicate करना चाहते हैं अपने आप से, तो सबसे बेहतर तरीका है breathing, श्वास. आप कुछ मत करें, बस एक लंबा सांस ले, धीरे-धीरे छोड़े, फिर एक लंबा सांस ले, धीरे-धीरे छोड़े. जब आप सांस ले रहे हैं, छोड़ रहे हैं, तो आपका फोकस होना चाहिए ब्रेथ पे, ब्रीदिंग पे, सांस पे. आप देखेंगे कि जब आप सांस 5 मिनट तक या 2 मिनट तक ले रहे हैं और छोड़ रहे हैं, तो धीरे-धीरे आप अपने बॉडी को फील कर रहे हैं, अपने ब्रेन को फील कर रहे हैं. थॉट्स उसमें कुछ नहीं आता है, but it may require some sort of practice. Say for example, if you are walking, जब आप वॉक करने जाते हैं तो आपको लगता है कि आप जिम जा रहे हैं, वॉक करने जा रहे हैं, तो आप अपने आप को टाइम दे रहे हैं. आप अपने आप को टाइम दे रहे हैं फिजिकली, बट मेंटली अपने आप को टाइम नहीं दे रहे हैं. So the breathing is such an important tool. It is free of cost. It is your breath. So you have to regulate that. And for a medical personnel, it is important to understand that breathing means what? Majority of our reaction responses that depends upon our autonomic nervous system. We react. our autonomic nervous system react. Sympathetic hyperactivity is there. So once you have a control on the breathing, that means you are able to control the autonomic nervous system and you are able to modulate your autonomic nervous system, able to modulate your sympathetic responses, able to modulate your parasympathetic responses. So this is so important. So if you really want to communicate with yourself, really want to feel actually calm, just try this. When you sit alone, just focus on the breath. Maybe for 5 minutes. Do nothing. Don't listen to music also. Because music is diverting. It is communicating with your emotions and thought process, not with your own self. Just try this. When you are walking, we call it mindfulness walking. Just focus on the breath while walking and see the difference. It will be more energizing than actually the walk.
That looks like connecting with the self.
Connecting with the self. And connecting with the self, I think, the most important thing in today's world. Because we are most disconnected generation today. This era, mostly, we have huge connection system, but they're not connected to our own self. And that is the reason, that a lot of people are having chronic illnesses, a lot of people are suffering. And it's very unfortunate that if you look at the medical profession or any profession that deals with the quote-unquote patients or the clients, they are perhaps suffering more in comparison to non-technical people. And if you look at the literature, look at the data, the burnout is so common. Like we have seen burnout.
There is an all artificial connection. There's not connection.
Yes, you are so occupied with the things. Like you don't communicate with yourself. Say for example, look at the COVID part. अगर आप कोविड में देखें तो डॉक्टरों को बहुत दिक्कत हुई. No, we appreciate our own fraternity that we have done a wonderful job, but हम लोग को नुकसान भी काफी हुआ. Burnout बहुत अधिक हुआ. डेटा देखें तो डिप्रेशन डॉक्टर में काफी है. Substance abuse, alcohol and drugs डॉक्टर में काफी है. So that is the because perhaps we have lost connection to our own self, and perhaps we are not able to connect very meaningfully to our client and patient. There is a misconception. Can I just take one minute?
Please, not.
There is a misconception, that connecting to our own self, mindfulness becomes something like आप साधु हो जाओ. ऐसा बिल्कुल नहीं है. साधु होने की बात ही नहीं है. आप बैठे बैठे कहीं भी रिलैक्स कर सकते हो. So, but the role is very important. The role in the sense what you see in your surrounding. Like there is some sort of framing of the medical profession. Once you come out of the OT, you have to take a cigarette. Once you go to the party, you have to take a drink. I'm not saying one should not take a drink. It's a personal choice. But how much to take? That unless you communicate with yourself,
and when to take
is not Kabir Singh movie. So unless you don't communicate with yourself, you can't decide.
Thank you, Professor. Professor, there's one curiosity connected to this. Do we as medical professionals understand communication beyond medicine? Because sometimes we think that writing medicine is my only communication. Do we understand, or do we need to upgrade
that? I think upgradation is integral part of the system, but there is no formal teaching for that upgradation. So we keep on learning, keep on upgrading our own self. अगर मैं उदाहरण दूं, एग्जांपल दूं, तो फर्स्ट ईयर में मैं कुछ और था एमबीबीएस में, फाइनल ईयर में मैं कुछ और हो गया बिना कोई कम्युनिकेशन का क्लास किए हुए.
and today after an amazing journey?
MD psychiatry जब मैंने किया AIIMS में, I was entirely different. When I came out, different. Last 20 years, perhaps I'm different. I'm communicating myself in a different way. I'm communicating with the patient in a different way. So I think what we have mentioned, it's a very important to keep on evolving, in fact.
Because the communication beyond medicine is because sometimes we feel that our role is only to write the medicine.
Communication beyond medicine, I think the most important aspect is your non-verbal communication.
That's it.
See, it's a real challenge in today's world that we in India see a lot of patients, like 100 patients are lying, in the line. And we have to see, they can't say we don't want. Because if you're in the job, you have to do it. अगर आप practice तो खुद भी करना पड़ता है. जो मैंने सीखा है, what I have learned and what I have seen, it is effective for us. What Bakshi Sahib said, communication beyond that medicine and writing prescription. It's a non-verbal expression. Say, for example, you have seen the prescription, you have said, are you all right? The patient may say, no, 1 or 2 sentences. Then you say, okay, goodbye. So if you're using both the things, non-verbal and verbal communication, that has a huge impact for us. At times it happens, like in the beginning, what we were discussing, death. If you are genuinely in the grief, sudden trauma because of the death, then perhaps it comes on the face also. And caregiver also understand that. But it's not easy because as a professional, if you look at the COVID time, we kept on seeing a lot of suffering and loss of the life. So you cannot connect all the time. But again, the same thing, 0 to 100 is score. We have to keep creating. So non-verbal communication is very, very important. And the spiritual connect is basically non-verbal connect in a very crude way.
How do you, before I'll come on the spiritual connect, but friends, what Prasad has said, the non-verbal communication, and we use in another language, the body language also. Now suppose I am sitting here, I'll give you one example of body language, where normally they say that the role of body language is around 80 to 90% in your communication. Sometimes we mistake that if you are very good in English, probably you are a great communicator. Knowing a language does not mean you are a great communicator. I'll come to the body language. Now suppose I say, you tell me, you. But suppose say, please. See, one is I'm showing a finger. Normally we show finger, but suppose I say this. Now suppose I'm listening to Prasad like this. How do you find? Normally we, sometimes. Or I slouch like. See, normally the problem, we use revolving chairs and slowly we move down. How do you find me like this? But suppose I'm sitting and talking to you like this. I'm inside. Because body language cannot be done there. There is a lot of available. But certain is how you use your body to communicate. One example I have given, I'm listening to Prasad like this. I'm close. Don't you think? Then I'm listening to him like this. Then I'm using my in between. That means I'm actually not listening. If you see in the beginning when Anirudh was speaking of Prasad, we have hardly used Okay, acha, to aap ye kehna chahte hain. Oh, we repeat it. So we disturb the flow of the another person. Or we will keep on using this, or the biggest enemy which I am not keeping is the mobile. We are in between. Okay, acha, theek hai. और बताइए 1 minute तरह एक WhatsApp जरूरी आ गया. So don't do this because when you're talking or the tone. In your communication, the tone, if your tone is not showing respect for other person. So I'll request you that especially when if you're communicating and you're using a chair, I'll come to as a professional, please don't use a chair which is too relaxing. It will sometimes make you like this. I don't know what's your view on body language.
I absolutely agree with that. I will give one example of my head of department. When I was doing my MD in psychiatry in the AIIMS, so my head of department was Professor Kumar. He was Amazonian, he was his class topper in the MBBS, but he took the family psychiatry. My room and his room were at the second door. So what I watched, he was head of department then, he would not call the patient by name from his chair, and he would not keep a person who can call the patient.
The attendant person.
He would see only 5 patients, 7 patients. He would get up himself, खुद खड़े होते थे, बाहर आते थे, काम लाते थे, पेशेंट को ले जाते थे, बैठाते थे, देखते थे. So I was so impressed. No, I think this is the way.
Wow.
But practically, it's very difficult for a lot of practitioners. You have to see 100 patients per day. It's difficult. But at least you can show the gesture, one expression. Like when the patient comes, you can show the alertness at least.
But don't you think also this was helping him when you get up?
It was helping.
It is also, he gets his whole body posture, he gets a little relaxation.
Relaxation also, plus he was
a personal touch.
Communicate better in fact.
And a personal touch also.
Yes.
And it is reassuring to a large number of patients sitting out that Doctor Saab is inside, कहीं पीछे से चले नहीं गए.
So जो आपने बात कहा कि we go to the doctor to relieve our suffering. तो जब वो उठते थे तो suffering ऐसी कम हो जाती.
So friends, the role of body language is extremely important. I think we are coming close to we asked for 45 minutes of your undivided attention. I think we are coming close to that, Professor.
Yes, I think so.
We towards the end try to share how do we grow the tree of communication. It's also like a tree. आप छोटे बच्चे हैं फिर बड़े होते जाते हैं. Certain things which we feel, as I said, other day we were in a university in a class. So the student towards the end of the session said, "So Professor, what's the conclusion?" My reply is, I don't know. The day you have concluded, that means your growth is over. Art of communication or upgrading your communication skills is an ongoing process from, as Professor in the beginning said, from your birth to the last breaths. But few things which helps you, first is respect for other in communication. Second is carefully watch what you're saying. You have to be very civilized. C starts with communication. C starts with civilized. C starts with courtesy. C starts with compassion. C starts with giving compliment to other one. Because the way Professor was shared some of his personal experience, don't you think he deserves a great compliment for sharing his amazing journey in less than 4 minutes with us? And the best is communication is not for the self, especially when you're doing outside communication. Until unless you are doing internal communication, communication is for convey. Communication is not for control. May I request you, Professor, such sessions cannot be winded, but before we say goodbye till we meet next personally or wherever, I pray that you all truly become ambassadors of health and wonderful healing, not known just as doctors or therapists or counselors. Thank you so much and deep gratitude to be attached and with digitally attached with us. I'll request Professor to say goodbye in his own terms.
Thank you very much, as Professor Brij Bakshi Saab has mentioned, and I'm really grateful to him because he has taken time. Sunday, we आमतौर पर कहीं जाते नहीं है, but हम इनको खींच कर लाए हैं और मेरा बहुत बहुत आभार है बक्शी साहब के लिए. ये सारा कॉन्फ्रेंस जो हम लोग कर रहे हैं, इट इज अबाउट स्पिरिचुअलिटी एंड मेंटल हेल्थ. एक मिथ है. The myth is that spirituality means that you have to go to the retreat, you have to go to some ashram to be spiritual. I think.
May I also add, Professor? Yes. There is a part of this myth is that spirituality is connected with religion.
No, it's not at all. Religion is entirely different. Religion is a set of rituals, and spirituality is a practice. It's meant about the discipline. It's meant about the communication. It's meant about the rhythm. To be with the nature, your diet, your nutrition. So discipline about yourself, how you are maintaining your rhythm of the body, how much you are coherent. That is spirituality. So there are a lot of people who don't meditate also, but they are spiritual. A person who is coming to the hospital by 9 o'clock, spending time till 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock without losing the cool, that is a kind of spirituality. It's more about the discipline. So this is what I wanted to convey. with this, I think we have taken more time than what we were allotted. So we wish to perhaps put a rest here. Thank you very much. Over to MC. Over to Anirudh.
Hanji, it was a very interesting talk, and I guess, sir, there is something that you would also like to share with us about healthy India, and there's a movement that you have. You're very excited.
Definitely yes, Anirudh, definitely yes.
Hanji.
Can I have 2 slides? I think I was told some slides are there. Stay. So this is Bakshi Saab. We are going to start some sort of movement. It's called Happy Fit India. Okay, fitness is different and happiness is different. Combination of both happy and fit is entirely different. Like you might have seen, we are losing people at very young age with cardiovascular illness. जैसे कि आप देखते हैं कि young age में 30s में 40s में आप बहुत fit हैं, फिर भी आपको डेवलप आपका डेथ हो जाता है या आप बीमार हो जाते हैं, आपको हार्ट अटैक हो जाता है, स्ट्रोक हो जाता है, एक्सीडेंट हो जाता है और कुछ क्रॉनिक डिसीज हो जाता है. So it's not about the only fitness, it's about the Happy Fit India. Happy Fit India is a small program that we are launching from today, and this program is more about looking at our own self. खुद को देखना, इसमें छोटे-छोटे कुछ सवाल हैं, 8-10 सवाल हैं, उसको देखना और उसके बारे में कुछ जवाब देना. जब वो जवाब आप देते हैं छोटे-छोटे क्वेश्चन से, तो एक हम रफ आइडिया लगाते हैं कि आप कितना हेल्दी हैं, आप कितना खुश हो सकते हैं, आप कितना खुश हैं, या आपका जो इमोशनल हेल्थ है किस तरह का है. और जब हमें कुछ आइडिया मिलता है आपके सवालों से, एक वैज्ञानिक प्रोसेस है, एक साइंटिफिक प्रोसेस है, उसके बेसिस पे हम लोगों ने कुछ सजेशन जनरेट किए हैं कि आप ये कर सकते हैं. ये सजेशन काफी साइंटिफिक है, एक रिसर्च करके बनाया गया है. जब आप उस सजेशन को फॉलो करते हैं, फिर आपको हम रिक्वेस्ट करते हैं कि आप फिर हमें बताएं आके 2 हफ्ते में, 1 महीने में कि आप कैसा महसूस कर रहे हैं. यदि आपको लगता है कि सजेशन ठीक काम कर रहा है, आप बेहतर महसूस कर रहे हैं, तो इसको आप कंटिन्यू कीजिए. वी आर वेरी हैप्पी दैट you are contributing in Happy Fit India program that we have launched from today. And if you feel, यदि आपको ऐसा महसूस होता है कि जो सजेशन दिए हैं बहुत अच्छा काम नहीं कर रहे हैं, so हमारा एक और प्रोग्राम है My Hope, that is a very comprehensive mental health services portal. My Hope is Mind Healthcare Online Education and Program. आप उस पर जा सकते हैं और जाके जो भी सर्विसेज आप लेना चाहें वहां पे ले सकते हैं. हेल्थ केयर सेक्टर में एक आज जो सबसे बड़ा एक चैलेंज है, फेथ एंड होप टू द डॉक्टर एंड टू द प्रोग्राम. हम पूरी कोशिश हम लोग कर रहे हैं और हमने अभी तक किया है पिछले 1 साल में कि इसमें आपका हम होप एंड फेथ मेंटेन रखें मेडिकल प्रोफेशन पे और मेडिकल सजेशंस पे. सो विद दिस Bakshi Saab, I will request you to start this program. Sure. Happy Fit India is a small web portal.
Some caption. What
Web portal, and most important, this program is developed by 2 young students for us. For Mental Health Foundation. One is the Satvik Rishi and I Yash Tripathi. They are the undergraduate student of technical college. So we worked in this program for only 3 months.
Thank you, Yash and Rishi. Thank you so much.
And they developed it, and we are starting it from today. And we have some sort of commitment.
So, what is the process to connect with this?
The process to connect with this is to go to the website of indiamhf.org, or you can look at the portal of Happy Fit India. Okay, click at that. And it will explain you what to do further. It hardly takes 5 minutes. And I request you all to visit this and see how it is going to help you and how it is going to help the entire community. We wish that by 31st October, we should have at least 7,500 people who should look at this. We request you, and we aspire that this number should be maybe 75,000 very soon. And Azadi का अमृत महोत्सव है, maybe 75 lakhs very soon.
Excellent.
With the support of the people who wish to promote mental health. So with this, I know, with your help, I dedicate this to the NHF and to the community and the country.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anirudh ji. We have taken almost 1 hour.
Thank you so much, Professor Brij. Thank you so much, Professor Nand Kumar.